never hate my race, but until recently I didn't know history class was jacked completely. Found my new family with the team going free. My old family doesn't understand me, cause I am so pro-white. No coke, no Sprite, I am rolling with the bubbly, gonna be more white. I saw them twist history right before my very eyes. Insurrection Day, it's in the book and it's all lies. But now I am alive and well to tell it. But will generations down the line be able to sell it? I've always been a thinker on the search for both sides, but they label me an outcast and they cannot tell me why. Guess I'm just a black sheep, white boy who doesn't hesitate to make a lot of fucking noise. I'm the black sheep, white boy, and I wouldn't change a thing if I ever had the choice. Cause the red's the color I bleed. Yes, we all do bleed red. I have to protect my family. Why does affirmative action make them not hire me? Even in the countries where I'm the minority. Is my race just that awesome and no other could compete? Is that what the anti-whites are trying to tell me? Why am I always seen as such a threat? To the point they wanna strip me down till there's nothing left. Old friends from high school, man, I haven't kept one, but I got a new crew and it's where I belong. Cause if you ain't going free, you ain't rolling with me. And there are even anti-whites in my own family. But I am the one who's comfortable with myself. I try to save them from the hate so wildly raising hell. Cause I'm the black sheep, white boy who doesn't hesitate to make a lot of fucking noise. I'm the black sheep, white boy, and I wouldn't change a thing if I ever had the choice. Cause the red's the color I bleed. Yes, we all do bleed red. I have to protect my family. That Scotland is too white, is Nigeria too black? Don't get your panties in a bunch, cause I have the right to ask. See, I'm the black sheep, cause I call it hypocrisy. And the media will give you emotions, but they will not give you honesty. Yeah, you have your feelings, but I have the crime rate. And I'ma shoot to kill if there's a danger my way. So I do not blame the cops, just the ones who are cowards, who hesitate to pull the trigger unless it is one of ours. Cause he's a black sheep, white boy who doesn't hesitate to make a lot of fucking noise. I'm the black sheep, white boy, and I wouldn't change a thing if I ever had the choice. Cause the red's the color I bleed. Yes, we all do bleed red. I have to protect my family. So I put people to death.
I'm gonna be rolling in a minute.
I tried to be fine.
Get ready.
But you don't believe in doing your share. But I've learned my lesson, and now I can see the white guilt in my heart. Heart was yearning, but now I can see the white guilt in my heart is dying away, is dying away. You fooled me a while. You thought you were wise. You even believed I fell for your lies. But the tricks turned on you. Now gladly I say the white guilt in my heart but now I can say the white guilt in my heart is dying away, is dying away, is dying away.
I never hate my race, but until recently I didn't know history class was jacked completely. Found my new family with the team going free. My old family doesn't understand me, cause I am so pro-white. No coke, no Sprite, I am rolling with the bubbly, gonna be more white. I saw them twist history right before my very eyes. Insurrection Day, it's in the book and it's all lies. But now I am alive and well to tell it. But will generations down the line be able to sell it? I've always been a thinker on the search for both sides, but they label me an outcast and they cannot tell me why. Guess I'm just a black sheep, white boy who doesn't hesitate to make a lot of fucking noise. I'm the black sheep, white boy, and I wouldn't change a thing if I ever had the choice. Cause the red's the color I bleed. Yes, we all do bleed red. I have to protect my family. Why does affirmative action make them not hire me? Even in the countries where I'm the minority. Is my rage just that awesome and no other could compete? Is that what the anti-whites are trying to tell me? Why am I always seen as such a threat? To the point they want to strip me down till there's nothing left. Old friends from high school, man, I haven't kept one, but I got a new crew and it's where I belong. Cause if you ain't going free, you ain't rolling with me. And there are even anti-whites in my own family. But I am the one who's comfortable with myself. I try to save them from the hate so wildly raising hell. Cause I'm the black sheep, white boy who doesn't hesitate to make a lot of fucking noise. I'm the black sheep, white boy, and I wouldn't change a thing if I ever had the choice. Cause the red's the color I bleed. Yes, we all do bleed red. I have to protect my family. I heard that Scotland is too white, is Nigeria too black? Don't get your panties in a bunch, cause I have the right to ask. See, I'm the black sheep, cause I call it hypocrisy.
All right, that was fun. Let's go ahead and we got pull things together quickly. Can you all hear me all right? Is everything working okay? The systems are supposed to be fine. A subsequent check of the systems that had to be repaired yesterday. I am still willing my cells on my flesh together. I am ordering, as Reptile said, I am ordering the flesh, the cells to get in line. And so you still see these Steri-Strips, which are kind of like Band-Aids, and there is blood going through. Wasn't there a rapper that had a Band-Aid on his face for no reason? Or am I imagining that? Let's see. Just Michelle is here. Hello and welcome. Sister and Herman, hello and welcome to you. Great to see you. There's the great Fourneau. We were just playing one of his magnificent pieces. I love it. I love singing with that song. It is great. Montana Kid is here. Mike is here. The great Franklin. Franklin could be in the middle of surgery. And if we went live, he would come too. They would freak out. The surgeon, the people keeping him anesthetized, they would say, holy sh-. And he would say, don't worry about it. I'm just doing this. Keep doing your thing. I got to go troll slay. Do your thing. There's the great Sister Elaine Sabatino and Mrs. Jess Horse and the great Yiz the Unifar. Wonderful ladies in the house. Masumik, hello to you and welcome. Dr. Dinger, great to see you. Athonite, wonderful to see. Matt, everybody here. Did I miss anybody? It's great to see. We've got wonderful people, the best people. White Student Transmission, Promethean Healing. Talk about wonderful people, the best people. Promethean Healing is here. I didn't even, but fortunately I have some backup water because this water glass has runneth dry. You want to stay hydrated? Stay hydrated. Remember when I was first started live streaming and people were like, that's vodka. Anything, just any lie. It just doesn't matter. It's like, what can we say? What can we say? He's not going to say what we want him to say. So what can we just say about him? That's vodka. And then they're like, wait a second. Too many of us are like hardcore drinkers and we take pride in it. So what else can we say? He's drinking oh, I didn't want to do that. He's drinking the tears of children. That's what he does. I assume everybody can. That would be hilarious if I'm just like chattering away and nobody could hear a word I'm saying. Is this the right microphone, by the way? Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in. Then I'll watch them roll away again. Now I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, yeah, sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I left my home in Georgia, headed for the Frisco Bay. I don't like the next line. I've got nothing to live for and look like nothing's gonna come my way. So I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. Ooh, yeah, sitting on the dock of the bay, wasting time. And then what's the big part? Look like nothing's gonna change. Everything still remains the same. I can't do what 10 people tell me to do, so I guess I'll remain the same. And that's just sitting here resting my bones, and this lonely mess won't leave me alone. Now I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, wasting time. I don't know the rest of the words. Oh well. Reminds you of Top Gun. Was that in Top Gun? Archangel is here. Great to see you, brother. Wonderful to see you. A true champion, Mike. Song reminds me of Top Gun, where he's talking to her about his mom. Well, that's actually, for information I can't share here right now. That's a very strange coincidental thing that you would bring up, my dear, dear friend. Thank you. Matthew is here. Oh, yeah, then the whistling starts at the end of the song. That's right. And then Linda's here. Great to see you, sister. Sonic booms. Yesterday, as I was getting ready for our spectacular gathering, around 3-ish Eastern Standard Time, there was a gigantic boom that rocked the place. Things vibrated, and I thought, okay, so the war has begun, and I am not in a position to be able to participate. No one could, if they're dropping bombs or whatever that is. And I thought for a moment, sonic boom, but then I said, nah, I'm not going to do that. I mean, that's like not even legal. And, unless there's an emergency. And what could be going on? You look out the window, it's like clear blue skies. There's no mushroom clouds. There are no troops marching. No anti-white troops marching through the streets, wanting to burn everything down. What's going on Odyssey? Is it working? I had Odyssey over there. I had we'll be reading some of your comments. Oh, you know what I need to do? I need to get Entropy up and running. And have you all heard a sonic boom before? Who here today has heard a sonic boom? Sonic boom is when the nose of an aircraft breaks the sound barrier and there's a loud explosion. It happens at the nose of the aircraft, I believe. If we have a physicist here, perhaps they can speak to it. And so it's very, very loud. And it goes a great distance. So who has? Anybody? Mike says yes. Says quite startling. Herman, I'm from Norfolk, England. Do they fighter jets go over there, break the sound barrier? Just Michelle says multiple times. Multiple times. Of course, the sonic boom is experienced many times horizontal with yours truly. So that sort of thing is not uncommon. Where's Rapunzel? Where's Rapunzel? Let's see. Promethean Healing, the great Promethean Healing says, seen the Blue Angels fly by elementary school when I was young. Oh, very cool. That thing is very cool. We were actually chatting on Twitter, Rapunzel and me, and she was talking. She should have posted a funny video of a groundhog, a couple of groundhogs, and some crazy person was like videotaping them up close and grabbing their love handles. And the groundhog looked at the guy like, what the hell is your problem? You're sure fresh. You are one fresh mother. And then kind of stepped back a little bit like, what, are you serious? And then he grabs his love handle again. And meanwhile, these groundhogs have these staple removers on the front of their face that are industrial size. I don't get it. Those were some laid back groundhogs. I don't think you could do that with groundhogs in Virginia. I make friends with them, at a distance. I'm like, hey, you go to and from work. Who else does that? You got like a groundhog buddy? I have for years. St. Andrew is here. Who else has heard the sonic boom? Elaine says, about to lose reception. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you can watch us in replay. One of our greatest champions, Elaine Sabatino. So who else? I bet that was fun. Promethean Healing, sing the Blue Angels. I've seen them as well. They're glorious, aren't they? Wonderful, talented. Mike said it was startling. Space Hoppers with us. Did anybody else hear this sonic boom yesterday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time? Herman says, what USA state are you in? I am in the once great state of Virginia. Right across the Potomac, which is on the other side, Mordor on the Potomac, Washington, D.C. So I'm right there. I'm right there. You can see D.C. behind me. Franklin said he didn't hear anything. Well, isn't that interesting? Because Franklin is... Franklin was deep in meditative thought about advancing white well-being. So we were talking about on Twitter, Rapunzel and myself, and she said there may have been some misinformation out there that she may have yelled, seen a groundhog, rolled the window down, one very close, going very slow, and in other words, stopped in the car, and she yelled, "I love you." And the groundhog immediately spat out all of its food, screamed, and then ran for a culvert. She says that is fake news. Okay, so Franklin didn't hear it. Okay. Let's see. Cool, Papa J Magic is here. Great to see you, brother. Oh, how terrible. Papa J Magic saw a plane crash during an air show. Wow. It happens. I mean, air shows are nuts. It happens all too often. It's almost like at the point where there are enough plane crashes at air shows that if you're going to take your children there, it's almost like, would you like to see a human being die today? Bobby, Jenny? Yeah? You want to go see a human being die in total flaming wreckage? Mm-hmm. People will scream and run. Most will run away. Some will run toward. Sure. Promethean Kitchen. Hello. Kingdom of Vinland. Great to see you, brother. Says, I love air shows and aviation in general. I know. Isn't the F-16 amazing? Isn't it absolutely amazing? I'm going to get back to and I want to get into this story that we're going to talk about because it's one of the ways that I said it's a proof that I've been talking about from the very beginning, that we, by our efforts, and I didn't know. I mean, I thought there would be far more of us, but I can practically put my arms around our community that have accomplished this. That by our efforts, Team White Wellbeing would influence the conversation across society, across the boundaries of countries, and we have done all this. We continue to do all this, and that we would influence the anti-whites themselves to use our lexicon, and we would influence the absolutely reluctant, intransigent, intractable conservatives who have just the conservatives. There's total immune system for hunting down these killer T cells. And when you show up and you're like, I'd like to can I just say white? And they just are on you like piranha, T cell killing piranha. And they're just on you. And you're like, white shoes. And then they're like, oh, okay, we'll let you go then. And people said, no, that can't be done because of this immune reaction that they have. And we've done it. We've done it. It's truly amazing. And of course, we still have naysayers, and we'll continue to have naysayers. We'll have naysayers all along, but we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep winning. We're going to keep succeeding, and we'll just keep pushing through those folks. But we got a very big article here, a very large Twitter account, and Waterpenny, I think, shared this with me. Thank you very much. And then there's a book that we're going to be talking about. The book is actually, well, we'll talk about the article, but the book, I think it's called The War on Whites. Ed Brodow. Is it Brodow? Brodow? The account has 350,000 followers on Twitter. I mean, this is how you change the world. This is how we could take immense gratification from this. Really, really treat yourself. Take pride in this. You are the modern warrior. This is the battlefield, and we are winning. We are just going through them like the stories of yore, where there were physical battlefields, and our epic heroes were just like hewing through. And this is the modern battlefield, and that's what we do here. Regrettably, the entire time we are hewing through the anti-whites, we have them shooting at us from behind, just at us. Our people who claim to be advocates for white sympathy in some degree or shape or form, and they're at us from behind. And we still keep marching ahead. I said, one guy, we were just over there. If you're not watching Discord and Dragons on Monday, you should. Starts at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yiz is your wonderful, amazing, genius, entertaining host. Hostess with the mostest is Yiz the Unifier. And you should be over there. I was over there, and one of these folks decided to show up, and his counter argument, I said, you have an awesome counter argument. And his counter argument was, you're a Jew. Just, I'm kidding. I'm sanguine today. I'm sanguine, even though, I went to the gym, and I still got this. I got to go, and they got to do more, work on the face. Who knows? I'm just going to end up like Scarface. I'm just going to end up like Scarface. And I'm just going to, everywhere I go, I'm going to have to say hello to my little friend, you cockroaches. You cockroaches. You cockroaches. I'll be saying that everywhere. But I'm still sanguine today. But it's so funny. It's so funny, like the great depth. Where's Fernald? Fernald is, he gets like the same. He's just like fed up to, here they come again with the lamest or the strongest argument they have. Like the best thing they can muster is, you're a Jew. Oh my gosh. Oh, there he is. He's here. Great to see you. Isn't that like what they muster? Isn't that like the argument they muster? It's like, you don't want to talk about the 16,000-pound J gorilla in the room. It's just, they've got nothing. And we're still just succeeding and victorious. I also am going to read just a little bit of Cindy's article of Going Free of Anti-Whiteism on Core. It's a stellar piece, as well as Final Blossoms and article about the benefits of revitalizing Western civilization. I really want to encourage this, even if you're not a reader. Even if you're not a reader, you should go to these articles, read the first couple paragraphs, read the last couple paragraphs. Even if you're not a reader, just do that. Just start familiarizing yourself with the real thinkers. The real doers. Okay, but let's get on. So the sonic boom, and I'm going to play this here, and we're going to see. So did you all even hear about this? There was a Cessna, a single-engine plane. I believe it was a Cessna. That's a brand that apparently lifted off in Bristol, Tennessee, and flew northeast, to land with the destination of Long Island. And at some point along the trip, no one really knows yet. So it's all very still mysterious. And people are just accepting what the news is saying just right off the bat, which I think is kind of curious. And but nonetheless, there was supposedly maybe 2 adults. I think I've seen in a couple different places, and perhaps even a child. And thoughts and sympathy, prayers and positive energy to the families who lost loved ones, especially if there was a child. That's the worst thing that can ever happen. And on this plane, and we've heard about these things where people can suffer hypoxia. Perhaps we have some pilots here that can speak to this. People know for different reasons why everyone on an airplane could lose consciousness, if indeed there were more than one. The plane was supposed to land Long Island, but then made an abrupt 180-degree turn around the area of Long Island. And news is claiming that the government is saying the plane was on autopilot at this point. The plane flew from Long Island directly for Washington, D.C. Why isn't anybody asking the question, how did this plane fly directly over Washington, D.C. without some sort of escort, without the F-16s already all over it? And by the way, does anybody know when the F-16 was introduced? This is an old airplane. And I think the F-16, and it's amazing, totally amazing. But it's kind of one of those examples of, as the momentum of Western kind dies down as a consequence of our destiny being in the hands of those who victimize us, the advancements also resemble less and less the advancements that Western kind had heretofore been producing. So we still have a long way to live in this echo, in my opinion. But, here you're still using the B-52 bombers. And I think it's unlikely that if we were still in charge of our destiny, still in control of it, and we were proud of who we are, I mean, I know for sure, we would have built things that would make the B-52 just something, the B-52 bomber, Stratofortress, just something for you to go and check out. It's something from antiquity at an air base somewhere, military base somewhere. It'd be a heck of a lot of fun. But there would be so many other things now, this advancements, but they're not. They just keep retrofitting the B-52 bombers. They're lovely aircraft, wonderful. The F-16s still. And so anyhow, isn't it interesting, unless somebody can fill me in and I've got it wrong, that this plane flew over Washington, D.C.? I mean, to me, it sounds like that could have happened, because we have, what happens when you have equality? This is a meme curative. When you have equality, you can't have excellence. And eventually you can't have competence. So probably many years ago, if the military had decided nothing's going over DC, nothing would have been able to go over DC. But now they're like, nothing can fly through that airspace. And then here comes a Cessna, just right over top. So there's suddenly a Kingdom of Vinland pointing out the F-16s were introduced in the 1970s. So I actually saw the film of the test flight for the brass. I saw that at a ROTC event. It was really cool, of the F-16. But anyhow, so the F-16s at Andrews took off, and as this plane was flying southbound to its final destination of Stanton, Stanton, Virginia, where there is no runway, so you'll be able to determine what happened there. But the planes, F-16s, took off, and apparently they got permission to catch right up, and so they went afterburner, and that's fuel is dumped into the system at the very end of it. It gives like this explosive acceleration, and they break the sound barrier. That was the giant explosion that rattled the house, and that rattled everybody's houses, and you'll see here in a moment in the area. They caught up, and according to the news, they actually flew in front of the Cessna, and they're saying shot flares out. Now, like, what flares are you talking about? Maybe Kingdom of Vinland can tell us. The only thing I know that a fully loaded F-16 would have on it flare-wise is called starburst. And yes, it's a flare, but it's intended to get the attention of heat-seeking missiles, SAMs and air-to-air, so that the heat-seeking missile doesn't follow the exhaust of the F-16 and destroy the plane and kill the pilot. If they say they release those to try to get the pilot's attention flying or not flying the Cessna. So where do those fall? How'd you like to have that fall in your backyard? Anyhow, so apparently they did that, and they claim also that they had a visual, and they claim that they didn't shoot it down, although its plane is still not found, according to the news that I just read. It might be, I don't know. They claimed, well, there's too many clouds. Too many clouds. Stanton, Virginia is not like the middle of Alaska. There's nowhere for a plane to hide. So I don't know. Maybe it is hidden somehow, but there are roads everywhere. You'd be able to see 81. The F-16 pilots would be able to say, okay, it's one click, west of 81 at, whatever. I don't know. So maybe they did shoot it down. Who knows? Maybe there'll be more to this story. But let's take a look at this. Tell me if you can hear it.
Boom disrupted our gorgeous Sunday. Fox News has since learned that it was a sonic boom from a military aircraft that took off from Joint Base Andrews.
Fox 5's David Kaplan has been all over this since the loud boom happened around 3 this afternoon. He joins us live from Joint Base Andrews.
He's been all over it. Is that what the news people used to say? Or am I just... Sounds almost slangish, but no, whatever. He's all over it like white on rice. He's all over it like white on Jason.
Now, the unknowns of this situation are just startling for everyone. Tell us, David, what have you learned so far?
Well, Jacqueline and Sierra, good evening to you.
Did y'all hear about that guy that landed in the, just as an aside, landed in the Israeli airport? And he was confused about where he was supposed to go. And so he saw a booth that said information in English and a number of other languages. So he walked over and he said, "Excuse me, is this information?" And the Israeli said, "Yes, what can you tell us?"
Fox 5 has learned that the impetus, the beginning of this incident, was a small private aircraft that was flying erratically in the area that was not responding to radio calls. Fighter jets were scrambled from Joint Base Andrews, and in the process of that, they were cleared to go to supersonic speeds. When they did that, that boom, according to officials, is what many of you heard across our area. In a statement,
loud, vibrating.
NORAD says that the pilot of the small plane was not responsive when they scrambled and caught up with that plane over Virginia before it crashed. We'll talk more about that in a second. But as for what all this sounded and felt like, here's a sampling of videos shared with Fox 5.
She's like, "Did I just win the lottery?" I like the people playing the music. They're like all laid back with the harmonica, and they're like, "We're gonna play a little song to Jesus." And you feel the vibration. It's a clear day.
Fox 5's newsroom got calls from all over our area, from Annapolis to Springfield, Virginia, and plenty of places in between, saying they heard the boom. As for this Cessna plane, we are told it crashed in Southwest Virginia near Stanton. Virginia State Police is saying they've been unable to locate the...
Look at that woman's face. We got to see her face again. Let me change the speed here a little bit so they don't... Look at her face. I love this. Look, she's all happy. Look how happy she's like. "Oh, he's playing the harmonica. It's fun. We're together. We're just
and plenty of places in
YouTubing.
between.
We're YouTubing." Look, she's got her makeup on. They're gonna be singing here in just a minute, right? He's playing the harmonica and the guitar. It's like we're gonna play a song. We're gonna sing about Jesus in just a minute. Play a song.
Stanton.
Look, and they're just in the groove. Look at her. He swallowed the harmonica. That's just the thing that holds it.
Locate the plane.
She's like, "What the flying is that?"
As of now, due to
Look, she ran for the door, doing nothing to interrupt the stereotype. She's like, "Was that a drive-by?"
The conditions in
That'd be a hell of a gun if I was a drive-by, honey.
that area. Here's a Fairfax County man describing what he heard and felt.
We were just watching TV, trying to be quiet, and then, loud bang.
Trying to be quiet. Nobody in my house allowed to talk when I'm watching TV. TV all that matter. We're trying to be quiet because I beat them kids if they're not being quiet. Quiet, I say, quiet.
The whole house shook, kind of like vibrated a little bit afterwards, and we both jumped up off the couch. And
Oh, Bryce is going to bed. See you later.
It was honestly, it's
We jumped off the couch. Few things get many Americans today off the couch.
I thought maybe like somebody was trying to kick the door in, or
Now that's totally retardus. I mean, maybe the Jolly Green Giant was trying to kick your door in.
like a car ran into the side of the house. So like, you know, we got up, ran around.
How does a car running into the side of your house and your door getting kicked in sound the same to this guy? I think he's been watching too much TV.
Started checking everything, and
So a little bit more from NORAD here. They said that the jets were scrambled from here,
Fred Sanford.
eventually caught up with this Cessna, this small plane. They
I'm going to guess it didn't take him long to catch up.
fired flares to try and get the pilot's attention. That was unsuccessful. Sounds like they eventually had a visual inside the plane and saw that the pilot was unconscious, and eventually that plane crashed in the George Washington National Forest in Western Virginia at about 3:20. Guys.
Wow, David, well, the reactions you got from everyone just show the magnitude of the situation. You've been digging for answers about the loud boom ever since it happened. With the research you've done so far, what can you tell us about the plane?
Well, Sierra, we know that that plane took off from Tennessee, according to public.
Okay, probably don't. That's just what I told you, I'm guessing. All right, let's move on. Let's move on. Let me see what y'all are saying about that. Sam, you seem like someone fun to just hang out with and shoot the breeze with. Yes, I am. I'm a hell of a lot of fun to just hang out with. All right, let's see. Do we have some answers about Missouri Battle Flag? Great to see you. Says on autopilot until it ran out of fuel. Yeah. Yeah, that's most likely. Most likely because it had flown all the way from Bristol to Long Island and all the way back down to Central Virginia. It had to be out of kerosene at that point. Kekme is here. Cool name. Vinland says, I've heard some rumors that the flares on the F-35 can or will be able to mess with radar. Really? Like, really? That's interesting. Fighters have flares to avoid heat-seeking missiles. Yes. I think it could be that. Yeah. Well, wouldn't they reach the ground? I mean, that Cessna wouldn't be very high. How'd you like to have that land in your living room? Oh, you've not heard them called starburst. Okay. Yes. That is perhaps one of the numerous, military stuff. They have numerous slang names. Like there's a slang name for the B-51 that I don't like. Lotus Eaters podcast put the phrase anti-white in their recent video title. Masumik says, really? How many, what size is their audience? This is exactly what I'm talking about. And this is what we're going to talk about right now. So let's go ahead and pull this up. First thing I'll show you is this is how we, Team White Wellbeing, you are a member of a critical team to the recapture of the destiny of Western kind. And don't let anybody else try to diminish that, try to downplay, try to take away from. These are jealous little me-nots. And it's understandable that they would be this jealous. Just imagine if they had to shower in the same locker room with me. It would just be, ugh. Don't let them take anything away from you. We are the ones doing this. We have a genius method that we apply assiduously with strategy of forethought and promulgating exactly as it's supposed to. The fact that there are people out there that will come into my threads and try to coax people away to fed and fool operations and will come and say, you're not doing anything or it's never going to happen. Like, I'm going to take a look at Yeah, I'll take a look at. There was on Gab. I had a response from a woman to. I reposted a great comment by Fernall all over my platforms, and a woman showed up and she's like, "Oh, that's a great plan, except that'll take more than a generation, and we're all going to be dead by then." So I'll speak to that, but don't let people take this away from you. This is what we have to keep doing, because this, as you can see, is changing the world, isn't it? It's crazy. It's crazy that we have to continue to have a conversation about whether or not this works when it's working. Isn't that crazy? Talk about jealous people. Ignoring. All right, so take a look at this. Townhall.com on Twitter, 350,000 followers over there. Townhall.com is the number one, it says here on the website, on the Twitter, conservative website with political commentary from over 100 conservative columnists and a community of millions of grassroots conservatives. Townhall.com. Okay? It's amazing. Continue to live your life as the protagonist, the hero in our story. Don't let any moment of your life be boring. Don't let any moment of your life be slack. Continue to live as though this is a movie. You are the hero in this movie, and people are watching. You know, would you be just like scrolling on your phone or just sitting on the iPad for hour after hour? How much would that movie suck? You know, this is our story where we are the heroes, and we're changing the world. We're changing the world. Townhall.com, number one conservative website with political commentary from over 100 conservative columnists and a community of millions of grassroots conservatives. So let's have a look here. This, I promise 100% guarantee, you know this is the case. No conservative would have been talking like this if it hadn't been for us. If it hadn't been for Team White Wellbeing. Not a single one. And these people that want to come along and they want to say, Jason didn't invent the word anti-white. Somebody here said anti-white one time or two times or whatever. Somebody there. Totally irrelevant. They're just jealous little me-nots. We've taken anti-white, anti-whiteism. We have identified the power of these concepts that are not just like you tack on the word anti-white on the end of some ridiculous screed. Not just that you might throw in anti-white every now and again when you're talking about Marxists and cultural Marxists and social Marxists and communists and first wave communists and feminists and their waves of feminism. And then you throw the word anti-white in there somewhere. That's not the same. That's not the same at all. So when they come around and they want to talk like this, you just give them the bird, block them, move on to people that matter. As the community grows, as we reach more people, these little me-nots will just be smaller and smaller voices until no one, not even themselves, can hear themselves anymore. We've identified the power of this. It rests in a nest of concepts that we employ in ourselves, first of all, because this is a psychological war that's being waged in ourselves at first, and then we take to the world. No conservative would have touched any of these at all if it hadn't been for you and me. End of conversation. No, others won't touch it if it's not for you and me and what we will do moving forward. That's the reality. So let's go ahead and pull up. I love this. I mean, I love it's why I'm sanguine. Let's check it out. Anti-white racism. Now, we want to get everyone to drop the anti-white concept and slur racist racism. And we will achieve that. The only thing I could see, well, one of the things that's undermining us is that there are explicit white sympathetic content creators out there that they've been at it for decades and decades, and then they feel very highly about themselves, and they did not figure it out. They've been employing strategies that have harmed them, that have harmed our people, that have undermined their lives, that have caused some of their followers to commit suicide, to end up in prison. That's the kind of thing that you end up having to wed yourself to, because otherwise you're admitting that you were wrong all along, and all of these people went to jail or committed suicide, or you ruined your relationship with your wife or your children or whatever it is for something that you were wrong about. People are loath to do that, right? And so you've got people out there that are still saying racism, and they're actually harming the white race. There is a doctor out there that is actively harming the white race every time he says anti-white racism. But we're going to make sure this ends. And then when this does end, when it becomes socially like a wart in someone's speech or writing to say anti-white racism rather than just anti-whiteism, when we achieve that, 100%, there are going to be spurging, jealous, me-not, gatekeeping subversives that are going to come out of the woodwork and say, you didn't do that. Guaranteed. Or how I came to write The War on Whites. This is Ed. Let me increase that a little bit. In the 1950s, we were plagued with an evil known as McCarthyism. I've not read this. And just so y'all know, unless I otherwise say, when there's something that I decide this will be good or could be good for educational purposes / entertainment for the community, like with this, I see this and I can conclude based on this some generalities about where this is going to go. I haven't read this whole thing already. I'm sure there will be a day when I choose something and like within the first couple sentences or the first couple seconds of a video, we discover, holy crap, this is not going to work at all. Oh, well, you can't win them all. But I prefer the original and honest and unaffected reaction for you all than putting on something. So we're gonna sort of figure it out together, and that way you see the thought process, because learning how to fish is better than me just yanking them out of the water and putting them in your basket, unless that's the kind of thing that turns you on. In the 1950s, we were plagued with an evil. No, and by the way, let me mention again, Cash App is up, Entropy is up, Odyssey is up, DLive is up. You can financially gift anywhere. You can also tag me as No White Guilt. Please do if you have any questions. In the 1950s, we were plagued with an evil known as McCarthyism. Oh my God. You see evidence right in the very first sentence of what I was saying. Conservatives would have never, especially this one right here, from the very first sentence, this obeisance, this deep obeisance to anti-whites, demonizing McCarthyism. That is deep obeisance. That's bending all the way over, nose to the toes, so that the anti-whites can do whatever they want with your rear end. This guy would have never said anti-white if it weren't for you and me, Team White Wellbeing, pushing this to the big content creators, like we have King Dice, and we'll soon to be able to crown Matt Walsh as well, and who knows how many others we'll end up crowning. We are that engine. Think of Soros and in like the big dark palace that monster must live in, with all the wealth and like the hybrid dog/dolphins or whatever it is that slither around the mansion with all that kind of money that he has to wield to bring his dark magic to the world. And look at us with our white magic. Look at what little we have. But the spirit of the West inside every single one of us that we can speak to and with, that's a voice we can hear. And then we can wield a magic even greater than Soros, Sauron, whatever else. Right? So immediately, the allegation of McCarthyism was that the communists were infiltrating the federal government. Don't fall into the trap of the conservative trap of saying they were, because they were. We know it. Doesn't matter. We're trying to recapture our destiny. Thousands of American citizens lost their jobs or went to prison because someone called them pinko. All right. So this, 1,000% right. This guy's a typical conservative that by way of our pressure and our genius has ended up in a position we wanted him. You could not have started off more obedient and compliant to anti-whiteism. The victims of McCarthyism were people on the left. So you see the argument he's making here already from the beginning. The right wing was bad, and then you can see also the thinking behind this anti-white light guy, this conservative guy's thinking. Is that if I create a case where there's a balance of my condemnation between left and right, I will be seen as legitimate by the anti-whites. They will owe me some reciprocity without realizing at all in this childishness that the anti-whites have no idea what reciprocity is, that they don't care about your balance and condemnation. You can beat your own side all you want, and they will cheer that. And then when you turn around and want to criticize one of theirs, they will sacrifice you. Eventually, the country regained its sanity and kicked McCarthyism in the pants. Oh, God, that's that typical Mayberry moron mindset. You kicked him in the pants. He just kicked him in the pants. His pants got kicked. Promethean Kitchen says, I'm trying to work on Michael Knowles to get him to say anti-white. Epic. You know what's going to happen? Promethean Kitchen is going to get Michael Knowles to say anti-white, and then anti-whiteism, maybe anti-white narrative, maybe Western kind. And he will be telling us ahead of time that he's working on this and that specific content creator. And then when those content creators say those things, when Michael Knowles says anti-whiteism, the Jay Spurging subversives will huddle around us and say, you didn't do it. These are the kind of people we're dealing with. They are the reason why the gene pool needs sharks. I got that from Carlisle was saying about gene pool needing a lifeguard for really dumb people. And I was like, well, I think we need sharks for some folks in the gene pool. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. Elaine is back. Says Michael Knowles has already said anti-white. Whoa. Then let's take it to the next level. Let's get him to say anti-whiteism. Let's take it to the next level. Epic. Now I can do like a salute with the actual hat, which is the only appropriate, really, Very cool. Sam says he sucks at fishing. He smacked a trout in the head with a worm this morning. It just sat there and didn't even budge. So frustrating. He was probably convinced by reading some modern ridiculous magazine to go on like a seaweed diet, and therefore it'll be dead soon. And you won't want to eat the emaciated fish. Yeah, there are these Catholic commentators with their show called The Rundown. They finally said the word anti-white in the newest stream to describe what's going on in the UK. Says Promethean Kitchen. Awesome. Keep pushing it. Keep making it happen. God bless you for your hard work. Kingdom says, are you familiar with the buff nickname for the B-52? Yes. Don't like it. I don't like it. That is like a kick-ass airplane. And I don't know. I don't like that at all. Escape is with us. Great to see you. Helios Abbott is here. Great to see you. Let's just keep doing this. Let's just keep getting these big content creators that are going to get these audiences that are more milquetoast and they're too afraid of us. You know, they'll turn me on and they'll be like, oh God. And they'll be trying to click me off as quick as possible. Oh my God, he's talking about defending the white race against attacks based on race. And they'll click us off. The guys that finally get us clicked off, they go in the bedroom and they cuddle up in the fetal position and start sucking their thumb because they've never been witness to such masculinity before. The women, even if they've never smoked, they smoke a cigarette. They smoke a cigarette. And they try to get that flush out of their face before their husbands, their boyfriends see them. It's not supposed to feel like that. Arnell said, oh my God. All right, let's keep going. Today we are faced with a comparable plague called woke. It's the wokies. Wokey. Wokeism. It's the wokies wokeying. To be woke is to accept that America is a racist country suffering from white supremacy, systemic racism. This time the victims are on the right. This time the victims are on the right. You see how fair I am? Conservatives, Republicans, and white people. And white people? It's just white people. Calling someone a racist is the equivalent of calling them a pinko. No, it's much, 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 much worse. There's no comparison. You could lose your ability to earn a living. First of all, pinko is something that obviously, if you're studying the Go Free method, you'll know no one trying to combat communism, actual communism, when there was a communist country trying to take over, would call the communists pinkos. No, pink obviously associated with women, especially little girls. And what is that association there? Immediately in the subconscious mind. Not a threat. Not a threat. So that pinko was obviously given to the population to call communists. You could lose your ability to earn a living today. No shit. The majority of Americans do not bow to the woke monster. Quote, the actual number of the woke remains small, said Scott McConnell in the American Conservative. Perhaps 6% of the population, according to Pew survey. Oh, fuck their surveys. I mean, it's just nothing but nonsense. I mean, so the claim here is that, oh, they're so tiny, they're so insignificant, you should stop giving in to their wokiness. Just like pinko. This sounds like totally inoffensive, innocuous, anodyne, no harm whatsoever. They're wokies. How could you really be afraid of a wokie? Doesn't that sound like something that like little girls would play with? Like it would be like some like cross between like a teddy bear and I don't know, a grasshopper. And they'd be like, look, the wokies in Wokey Town. That's what it sounds like to me, at least. But then again, listening to most of the general public and certainly anti-whites, it just, to my ears, it literally sounds like the squealing of pigs. And I think there's something almost biblical to that. It just, to my ears, I hear the squealing and grunting of pigs. Whites are demoralized, marginalized, stereotyped, denigrated, and suppressed by government, media, academia, Hollywood, and corporate America. Doesn't sound like a small amount of people. But can you believe that this guy's actually saying that? Whites, by all of these institutions, who did that? You did that. You did that. That's not happening by accident. Don't drink the Kool-Aid that these cult members who cult around with their crutches and they want to just J-Spurg all day long. And they're like, this is just naturally coming out of the ether. You didn't do it. Don't drink their Kool-Aid. I promise you, none of this is happening. You should walk like you're 10 feet tall. No joke. Woke ideology accuses all whites of oppressing everyone else. Hating white people has become an epidemic. I'm glad you finally figured it out for us. Whites are demonized, marginalized, stereotyped. Before it can stop, the disease must be diagnosed and called out for what it is. What do you think he calls it? Well, because he's inside the anti-white narrative and hasn't been helped by us yet, he calls it racism, which immediately undermines him. It detonates his entire argument. Most people are not aware of how pervasive the war on whites has become. No, everyone knows. When we think of discrimination, we think of whites discriminating against blacks. Do you see how he's like groping through the darkness, trying to understand what I figured out when I was 11, 12, 13 years of age, trying to understand. It's just too bad these people, all these white people, God, sometimes when it comes to white, I can get really angry with white people because you have all of these connected whites and they go to these nice colleges, they get in these nice fraternities and sororities, they hook each other up, they've got these great jobs. And that's like this tiny part of the white race. And you can find them on like the different apps out there. And when they get bored, you find them making like stupid content for you to watch. And then like you look at their back, the living room, and you're like, do you live in a mansion? Like the molding running along the ceiling is half your house cost. You're like, why are you making a TikTok? You live in a mansion. And then when they get really, really bored, they start selling you. They're doing this to just have a laugh with the others, selfish individuals, selling you on how they made it. Don't listen to a thing they say. Don't pay a single dollar. It's all garbage. So here they're not going to listen to me. Why? Because I'm son of a construction worker with an IQ higher than theirs, better in sports, better in fighting, better in bed than them. They're not going to have anything to do with me. Most people are not aware of how pervasive it is. Thanks so much. Non-whites, I'm reading this for the first time. He calls non-white people non-whites. Wonder where they got that from. They would have never called, conservatives would have never called non-white people non-whites. Minorities have become the victims of discriminatory actions he says now whites. My apologies. So as you can see, I had not read it ahead of time. Now whites. He goes on, a racial inquisition against white is underway. Boy, it's almost like we have meme curatives that he read before writing this. What do we say? You're called before an anti-white tribunals against whites is underway based on the erroneous notion supported by the president, not just by the president, but you can see how this is the conservative mentality trying to grapple with the reality of anti-whiteism. The number one threat to America is ingrained intolerance by white people. Jay Magic says Matt Walsh and Sidney Watson both recently used non-whites as well. Well, God bless them. Sidney Watson should come on my show. And Matt Walsh should have me on his. Janice is here. Great to see you, sister. Victorian time traveler, a bear mixed with a grasshopper. Actually sounds like Nice, terrifying monster. Yeah, Elaine, that is the kind of thing that the anti-white, devious, psychological warriors would come up with for conservatives to call the anti-whites commie pinko fig Newtons. Let's continue. We're not going to go line for line here. The country has gone wild over diversity, a euphemism for having fewer whites around. Can you believe this? This guy should be naming me and this community in this article. All of this is coming from us. All of this is from decades of work. This pressure, this zeitgeist, this new zeitgeist, this creeping milieu that he's like, there's something different out there. It has a source. It's coming from somewhere, buddy. I mean, somebody get to this guy. Maybe he's a good guy. Maybe he's genuinely trying to understand. I will help him go the distance. I will help him go the distance. He can retain his six-figure salary. I will continue being a pauper. He's actually saying diversity means fewer whites. And of course, you know the truth that these guys, especially these Ivy Leaguer guys that were in all the good frats and they made all the good connections, they will definitely be ignoring us as they drink up their champagne on the yachts. The issue is we have to make sure that they aren't able to ignore us, because they will happily run off with the credit and they won't be able to recreate what we have done here. You can't steal and then just front with it, because you can't make, it's like the people who copy like Van Gogh or whatever. You can't create the original anymore. Why is it important to have the creators in charge? The reason why it's important is because the universe is not stagnant. Society is not stagnant. It's always presenting you with new opportunities and challenges. So if there was a formula that was overcoming the challenges to us and able to take advantage of the opportunities, you need to stick with that formula. Because if you don't, if you decide to take a snapshot of it and then run off on your yacht and drink up the champagne and celebrate and claim that you did it, when those new challenges and opportunities come up, you won't know what to do. That's why it's important. There were people in this community that thought it wasn't important that I be the cynosure. They were just like, it doesn't really matter if Jason is the cynosure. It doesn't. If nobody ever knows that Jason dedicated his whole life, that doesn't really matter. There were people in this community actually thinking that, and thank God there were people in this community who brought it to my attention so that we could bring that conversation to the surface, and then I could say, that's absolutely not what we want. That is not acceptable. You know, if we had a community large enough, I mean, you can have the best example is Nick Fuentes. 7,000 people will watch live every time Fuentes goes live, and he can literally talk about chicken nuggets. It doesn't matter. If we had that kind of number and I was the cynosure of that, there would be attention directed to this community from everywhere, relatively speaking. Let's jump down a little further, and then I'll share the link to this article as well so y'all can look at it. Final two, he says, in the war on whites, I defend white Americans by promoting the excellent value system they created. Respect for the individual, and there it is, selfish individualism, freedom of speech, rule of law, meritocracy, the work ethic, equality of opportunity, taking personal responsibility, the importance of education. All of these selfish individualist what can we call them that would be really damning? It's almost like they are like holy relics to selfish individualists. They all are abstractions. You cannot defeat an attack on the biological reality of a people by defending their ideas. You cannot use the straw men of their ideas, claiming that, and that's what these are, straw men. They're attacking property rights. They're attacking freedom of speech. They're attacking property rights, freedom of speech. We can go all the way down the line. These things are the manifestation of our biospirit on our environment, on our community, on each other, our expectations for behavior, our norms, our mores. Those things are under attack because they come from us. And the anti-whites will tell you, it's not a secret. They will tell you. They won't say, anti-whites won't say, well, we're getting rid of property rights because, and then they go on a long diatribe about how wrong it was from the beginning of time for there to be such a thing as personal property or anything of this nature. They won't do this without referencing the white race, stealing from everybody else, living well on the backs of others, on and on, the anti-white creed. They won't do it. So the only way you can defend is by meeting them where they are attacking. At some point, I'm going to have to do a screen search. How many of you want to bet that he references, I mean, the odds are high, it's not 100%, but that he references Martin Luther King? Let's see, though, finishing up. I am lauding the achievements of white people, especially white men. Can you believe he's actually saying this? That is because of team white well-being. God, it's almost like literally wielding magic, isn't it? With the civil rights legislation of the 1960s, whites made it possible for blacks and other, there he goes, minorities to become full partners in the American dream. No one forced them to do this. They acted willingly. That is, who else talks about that way but this community? This 100% is influencing him, either directly or indirectly. 100%. I mean, No White Guilt Clips has made numerous clips of me making the argument there that we did that of our own will. No one stole it. No one took it from us. No one forced it from us. They acted willingly, unilaterally, because it was the right thing to do. What are they getting in return? Contempt, hatred, and tolerance. Ed Brodow needs to interview me. He needs to have me on. He needs to, we can talk in private at first, and I can empower him so that he can bring this message to the conservative millions in their grassroots. Let's do that so that others, the me-nots, can come to me and say, you didn't do anything, Jason. You didn't do anything. You know why they say that? Because that's what their wife says to them after they climb on top and climb off in the span of 15, 20 seconds. You didn't do anything. He ends with this. Ed ends with this. Discrimination against whites is just as bad as discrimination against blacks or anyone else. It is time to declare that white Americans are victimized by, and here's where he's going wrong, racism, and entitled to the same protection as any other group. Well, truly a remarkable success for us. That is our victory. It is an epic victory, We are percolating, we are suffusing all of society. It is really something special to behold. I want to see what y'all are saying, seeing if there are any financial gifts, and then I'm going to read some of Cindy, Going Free of Anti-Whiteism, her article, and some of Final Blossoms article. We'll tell you where to find those as well. Let me see what you all are saying. Elaine says she's got to be careful because there are so many communist flags in her area. Do be careful. Azimuth Clark is with us. Great to see you, good sir. You didn't do anything. You didn't do anything. And then he's like, what do you mean? I'm done. Oh, boy. It's fun to hit them where you know it hurts. Come on, refresh. Here we go. Okay, good. Blank there. Samuski says we need to celebrate Elaine for spreading the goodness of the white well-being community to strangers and doing so effectively. Oh, without question. She is one of the absolute super champs of white well-being. She's unstoppable. Westman Media, great to see you, says, is there a comments section on that article you just read? Let's I'll give it to y'all right now. Sitting in the morning sun, I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, then I'll watch them roll away. Oh, wrong direction. Again, now I'm just gonna sit on the dock of the bay, watching the tide roll away. There's the article. So y'all can just hold off and then you can get to it as soon as we're done here. World Conqueror, great to see you, says, one time a military plane was flying over me and I thought it was a nuke because it was after the U.S. destroyed the Russia oil pipeline and loud. So glad I no longer doom dissect. God, that's a great testimonial. Isn't that a wonderful testimonial? Yeah. How much? Just sit there for a moment. St. Andrews, you're great to see you. Think about that. How much good would it have done, World Conqueror, to doom dissect what was going on with that plane, what was going on with Nord Stream? How much good? None. We'll stress them out about things you can't do anything about. How good is that for your health, right? And you have the opportunity cost. What could you be doing that you're not doing because you're busy investigating and talking with others about who might be behind this, that, and the other thing that you have no power over which to influence? Do you see how these J-Spurgers, the J-Spurgers, that's funny. The J-Spurgers. Do you see how the J-Spurger, the subversive gatekeeper J-Spurgers, do you see how they prevent efforts to put an end to white victimization? It's endless doom documenting, doom dissecting, and just bellyaching, just complaining. I can't tell you, in times where I've been in positions of authority and there have been employees that I could let go because of bitching, complaining, etc., I let them go, because those kind of people are worthless. They are deleterious. They have this negative energy that they communicate to everybody around them, ruining the whole team. You got to get rid of them. You got to get rid of them. And nobody can compete with their deep and wise, brilliant, puissant arguments. You're a Jew. Okay. Oh, you know what I did want to look at over there on Gab. I did want to speak to that because it's part of, and then we'll get to, let me pull up this. Oh, my back. Oh, I did back today. Oh, I did back today. My back. When I start doing, I put on my muscle shirt because it's hot. Normally I wear regular t-shirt because I'm not trying to make guys hate themselves. But it was hot. They need to turn the damn AC up. And got the muscle shirt on. And when I start doing the rows, my back T-bar row, and it's like Schwarzenegger. It's just like muscles just. I had the guy that trained me from the beginning, you know, one I told you about before. And he said, your goal. Got it right in my face. He's like, your goal. And he was not kidding. This was not a joke. He's like, your goal in life is that when you walk down the street, women faint and men puke. It's like, all right, I'm good. Let's make it happen. Power went out at the gym. Power went out. There was a hellish storm going on. Power went out. And I looked at him. I'm like, what do we do? And he said, let's hide. Okay. They're going to throw everybody out. Well, we'll just hide. Who cares what happens when the police come? We're working out. Shit. Don't get in the way of that. Yeah, it was words of wisdom. Man, that guy was brutal. Very lucky to have had him in my life. He was a Promethean. He didn't say cool guy. He's a total cool guy. I can't say some of the stuff. It's funny. It's funny. Oh, God. There's one thing I just want to say, but I probably can't. I probably can't. Now, what was I going to look at? Gab. Okay. So I posted this great comment by Fornull, where Fornull says, Morgoth asks, what can be done? I think we do have an answer and a solution to try. The first step is teaching our people the defense to the psychological warfare that is being waged on them. And it goes on. You can find that it was on my Gab. I put it everywhere. And it's got a picture of our champ, the great Fornull, with it. And then a woman that we've seen before, actually. She's been in the live chat, and I wish that she would be, you know, everybody doesn't have to be, at the helm of the ship. I mean, the ship has many parts and many places, and the helm, the steering, maybe should be left to the professionals. But anyhow, she comes in. I'm sure she's a smart woman. I'm sure she's a smart person. She says, tags me and says, it's a good plan, meaning the Go Free method. Good plan, but it will take an entire generation to complete, she says. I wonder how she knows that. And she goes on, we won't last that long. So, what are the conclusions to be derived from that? Don't use the Go Free method. That's like a direct, don't use the Go Free method. It would work, but it's going to take too long, and we'll be done by then. So obviously, so what else? First of all, it's a gross misunderstanding of the Go Free method and how quickly it works, how quickly it can work. It's also a misunderstanding of the actual thinking process and the assessment of the world we are in, which is infinitely more complex than people who like to give their opinions on it realize. But I guess I digress. But she is advocating what then? What is she saying? What needs to be done? Is it tough talking? That's usually what fills that silence there, tough talking. What needs to be done? Well, let me tell you about the nature of the universe. I had a guy come in recently. It is the order of the universe. And then like pontificating on the order of the universe. And does what for a living? And I mean, come on. These are ridiculous things. These are so silly. It's so silly. I'm with you all. It's less silly than Rapunzel and the hyper focus on squirrels and the squirrel threat and the oddly misplaced love for groundhogs. We did feed groundhogs, and they were babies. It was babies, you know. They were like that. They look solid to me. I tell you, I've never touched one like they were in that video. They were like grabbing the love handles. They are solid little suckers. We went up to the hole was like that. I mean, practically North Vietnamese came crawling out of the fucking hole thinking it was still Vietnam. I was like, what the hell? This is America. They were like, we got so lost. Man, you were lost a long time. So the holes were like that. And I wonder how many people actually got that joke. And anyhow, yeah, poured cherries down there because they like cherries. Did you know this? So, oh, looks like we have some financial gifts on Odyssey. I'll take a look in just one moment. Thank you. I want to speak to this lady over here on Gab. So, usually the thing that fills the void is it's going to be something violent. It's got to be violent. We're going to just have to rise. So what if that's not happening, then, lady, what do we do? If people aren't just doing that, if this is just not happening, if people aren't just deciding to go and end their lives in contests with the federal government or even just the county police or the town's police, if that's not, then what? We just wait for the end? No, this is why you shouldn't be on the helm. You know, back. Let me just give you a little one right on the ass there, and make sure you make it safely to some other part of the ship, because this is for those who are in charge. Stop questioning us. We're having successes. So very briefly, I mean, you all can see this is happening. I've discussed this many times, and so this is why it's a gross misunderstanding of the Go Free method and what's possible, as well as a gross misunderstanding of an evaluation of human dynamism and the status quo and the incessant movement of societies, threats, opportunities, etc. No one could have predicted. None of these people would have said, yes, you will be able to get, what is his name, Ed, writing a book, this conservatism icon, writing a book, talking about the war on white people. You can't do it. Because how do I know that's what these people would have said then? Because they were saying it to me. They've been saying it to me all along. You can't do it. It can't be done. You can't do it. Good luck with that, Jason. It can't be done. Good luck. Well, we did it. So how is it that concepts that we have created, we have breathed into existence, we have animated, we have actualized, How is it that these concepts like this are used around the Western world now? How could that happen overnight? Yet you're going to say you're going to come and tell me it's going to take a generation. It's not possible. Of course, the other thing I'll mention here, well, I'll just say to finish that thought, it is possible. It is. We don't know how long specifically, because no one, least of all you, are going to be able to predict the future of the complexities of human dynamism and the natural world. You simply don't know. I am able to assess this and evaluate it, and the other leaders and champs in service to white well-being are able to do it far better than you. I'm sure there are things you do better than us, like give birth to children. But we are able to do this far better than you. And so we can and have established a system to be able to take advantage of opportunities and overcome obstacles. There are going to be what we can maybe borrow from science fiction, wormhole scenarios that can radically speed up the rate at which things are happening in our favor. We would be much further along if it weren't for people like this lady coming in and questioning us, telling us it can't work when she has no idea, and all of the evidence says the opposite. Basically, this kind of a notion comes from the inability to evaluate reality. And even all the way up to very intelligent people, as we've talked about before, when they evaluate our situation, and we seem to be the only ones that don't do this, that are brighter than that. They evaluate a permanent now. Whatever now is permanent. Because that's what their mind can hold. And if this is like the uber midwits, if these are like the higher IQ people, just imagine the midwits, what little data points they're able to actually hold in their heads. And then they make those data points permanent for an evaluation about what will and what won't work. Are you kidding me? Please get back to making the cake. Just, it has instructions. Go make the cake. Go make me a sandwich. Just stop giving your opinion and slowing us down. Because when you show up and other people read that, you add your voice to this chorus of subversives that are getting in the way. If we fail to recapture our destiny, it's not going to be in a small part due to these subversives, those who intentionally are subverting us, and those who are for the purpose because they're anti-whites, and those who are intentionally subverting us because of jealousies, because they're me-nots, because they think their opinion on everything is as valuable as everyone else, or as specialists, or what have you. So you can see she's taking whatever data points that she can hold in her head per her IQ, which is processing power, not information learned. And then she's taking a snapshot. That's her permanent now, forever into the future. It's just like this. And if it's just like this forever into the future, and you're spreading a new psychological defense against a psychological warfare moral imperative, that's going to take, in my estimation, this amount of time, and this many people will have to be and then it's going to creep very slowly. That's what she's done. And then she decided to share with the world that Team White Wellbeing is going to fail. I mean, seriously. The injustices, the indignities that are inflicted upon Team White Wellbeing by white people in the white sympathetic sphere are just, they're ineffable. How ugly they are. It's just totally ineffable. Thanks so much for sharing your totally worthless opinion, especially in light of all of the victories we're having. Thank you so much for sharing your totally worthless opinion. It's going to take too long. White Student Transmissions heading off to bed. Take it easy, brother. And we will see you soon, and we'll interview you for your book as well soon. Oh, yeah, then there was this other guy. This other guy's always deciding on Twitter he's going to chime in, tell me and us how wrong we are. He said, I'm going to get to this Cindy's article right now. In fact, let me pull it up. Not going to be here a ton more. I'm going to look at the financial gifts, and that ain't it. Is that it? Looks like it's it. All right, that's it. So this is over at Quora.com/profile/biospirit-of-the-west. And I would like you to go to on YouTube and look at these articles and just stay on YouTube. That's where I would like you to be. But if you can't, for whatever reason, you're having a hard time on YouTube finding it, then that's the other place you can find it. So this is on my video of the white guy being robbed by the anti-white, black guy beaten, kicked in the head, just destroyed. And I say there won't be any substantive pushback against physical anti-whiteism until we defeat anti-whiteism on the psychological plane. Learn how to do so at nowhiteguilt.org. Why is that? Ideas animate the living animal, human being. Without the ideas, you don't have the animation. Without the moral imperative, you have the immoral alternative. Does that make sense? And if you are stuck with the immoral alternative, you won't act immorally. The white people won't act immorally. They won't act without a moral matrix. So then this person decides he's going to tell everybody how wrong I am. He says, quote, until we defeat anti-whiteism on the psychological plane, close quote. Then he says in response, after quoting me, that's a nice thought. That's a quaint little thing you're doing there, Jason. It's a quaint little thing. Too bad, he says, this isn't a Gandhi in India situation we're living in. Of course, the implication, and I spell it out in my response, is that the appeal is to a savage authority for mercy, when in reality, the appeal is made to our brothers and sisters in their teeming millions. I say, you obviously don't have the intelligence to strategize, so stop it. We are not appealing to a violent force to be merciful. We are animating the millions of whites who don't move without a moral imperative. You are clearly a subversive. He writes back, you misunderstand. It's always, when you body slam these people intellectually, it's always, you just don't get it. And if you have a long conversation with them, it's just every other sentence, they'll say, oh, you don't understand. Oh, you're not getting it. Oh, you don't understand. And then you'll say, well, spell it out clearer. And then they still will keep saying, oh, you don't understand. That is being evasive, because they know that they're defeated, but they want to maintain their position. They want to hold on to their position. You misunderstand. Gandhi's strategy worked against the Brits. Listen to this. You're going to like this. Precisely because, and I invite you to give your opinions on these things too. Precisely because Gandhi's strategy worked on India. And these are the kind of conversations that take place in these doom documenting, doom dissecting, doom divining, and then giving your remedies. This is the kind of conversations. They're like, well, what happened? Let's talk about what happened in India. And you talk about that for a meeting, and then you go home feeling like you did something. And I always went home feeling like I watched strippers and then there was no action. I mean, it was just like, wait, what? Why you get me all revved up to do something? You get me all revved up. It's like you're your good old boy friends are like, hey, man, meet us out at what it names the place where there are all these, like, all of this landscape with dirt, mountains, hills, and everything, open flat areas, mud bogs and everything. And they have like jacked up, they've got like jacked up UTVs and everything. And you show up there and they're there in some like sedan. And they're like, oh, we just wanted to hang out here, just for a little bit. You would be so gutted. Anyhow, India was an ethno-state, he says, where people... Was India really an ethno-state? Ever? I mean, this is... And then you get into these kind of conversations. Of course it wasn't. India is not an ethno-state today. What a ridiculous thing to talk about while our children, pedo preppers, are preparing children to be down for whatever adults want to do with them. You want to talk about India and ethno-state? Really? So, scores and scores of languages, hundreds and hundreds of tribes, big time animosities all over the country, long-standing ethno-state. So he says it was an ethno-state with a common bond where a great majority that took a united stance that couldn't be broken. My point being, they had numbers on their side. Oh, so I see. So you're determining what's right and what will work by how many numbers. And here you've made an erroneous calculation, because that is not... India was not an ethno-state. They did not succeed against the British rule because they were an ethno-state and Gandhi's peaceful... do you have any idea what happened as soon as Gandhi and party came to power, and what happened to the next peace rallies in India that didn't like things that were going on with the government? You have any idea? So you don't talk about these things. This is a total waste of time. And it's a battle of wits, and you're totally unarmed. So stop it. This is a waste of time. You're just going on to Twitter telling people how wrong I am, and that turns people away from the one thing that works out there. How shameful. How really shameful these people are. Of course, there were many reasons, but he goes on. I'm not even going to waste any more time with it. He goes on, and he says, you say subversive, I say practical. He's practical. Not us. We're not the pragmatic. I mean, we are pragmatic. We're making it happen. There's no like passive treading water idealism here. He says, I know you have a thing for Labamaki. Oh, he just typoed. Underneath of it, he wrote Logamaki. Why would he say Logamaki? Did I say Logamaki on a stream recently? Is he making fun of me? I know you have a thing for Logamaki, which has its place, but don't use it disingenuously against someone who is being sincere and has our people's best interests at heart. It will only obfuscate. Why are you using the word obfuscate there? I mean, it's just like, eschew the obfuscation, buddy. Eschew the obfuscation. Logamaki, if I use it, if he's making fun of me, I can't recall. It just means arguing. It just means a battle of words. So he's saying, I know you have a thing for Logamaki. No, what I need is infinite longanimity. That's what I need. I need infinite longanimity for you POSs. That's what I need to have. Infinite longanimity. Because of all of you sciolists out there. This guy starts trying to break big words out on me. Can you believe it? Because of all of you sciolists out there who continue to do shit like this. And I've got to suffer it. Okay, so I wanted to share that, but I want to get on to your comments. And no, I didn't just do that. No, I dropped my gum. Don't. I'm not going to get down there. That's where Rapunzel stays. I don't get down there. Oh my God. Oh, what the hell? I'm all getting dried out. You have all of these, I love it, these cult ant types, and they're like, he licks his lips. And why do they pay a lot of attention to my lips? I mean, tell me that you want my lips on your body without telling me you want my lips on your body. It's like they can't stop looking at my lips. But then you find out whenever it's one of them that is ever on camera, either a video or a photograph, you see they have no lips. So clearly they're jealous about my luscious lips. They wish they had voluptuous lips like me. You know, they're like, I can't even do it. I have so much lips, I can't even do their lack of lips. They're like, look at his lips. One of them are going to screw up one of these days. And they're going to, instead of trying to make fun of my lips and my tongue on my lips, that is totally, come on. I mean, are you really watching my tongue on my lips that much? What are you doing while watching me stream? Stop it. That's disgusting. Absolutely stop. They're like, look at his lips. Look at this guy. Look at how he licks his lips. Okay. Why do we have to deal with these people? They're like, yeah, his lips. You know, I can't wait for the day that there is, like, there's a panel and they start making fun of me for licking my lips. They're like, God, he licks his lips. Have you seen it? And then one of them is going to like go to like daydreaming state. He's going to be like, yeah, he licks those lips. They get all moist. Then the other is going to be like, shh, damn it. Wow. Dude bro moment. Ladies and gentlemen, please, let's do the thing. Let's celebrate. Get out the raucous emojis. Get out the diamonds. Throw some diamonds down for his feet and drop some crowns on his head. Dude bro moment came back a day later. On Sunday, after financially gifting $50, he financially gifted today again 50 more white well-being dollars. God bless you. 007 for this guy. 007. Mega salutes for Dude Bro moment. With these $50, look at what he said here. This is very important. He said, for white well-being, that's what he's financially, and this is what I was saying Sunday, when I was saying, hey, all the secret police across the West, when these people give me money, it's coming from love. It's coming from a desire for our countries to be better for everybody that lives in it. We talk about it all the time. The evidence is everywhere. There's no fronting it. It's not an optic act. This is who we are. That's who these people are. They're identifying themselves by way of this. They're saying, that's what I want. I want anti-whiteism to end, and our countries will be better for everyone inside. God bless him. Dude Bro Moment says, for white well-being and for changing the world. I don't know what it is about what he wrote right there, that it has so much gravity. But I feel like if I'm partying about it, like I'll be disrespecting it. There's real substance there. He's seeing what we were just talking about, like with this article, with these conservatives. He knows obviously very well that would have never happened. The world has been changed by a bunch of, look at yourself in the world. Look at yourself, what you've done in the world, no matter how much you've achieved, you're just still some guy, you're still some gal out in the world. And you changed the world. DB50, God bless you, man. Thank you for being a real champion for white well-being. Man, we love you, brother. All right. And thank you all for celebrating this hero. This is what we do. Irish Nick is with us. Great to see you, champion. Whoa. Whoa. Hold on. Wow. I was just looking at a picture. I'm sorry. And there is Rapunzel. She has shown up with hedgehogs to celebrate DB50. And you know that Heidi has real hedgehogs. And they also are gardeners, like for real. She sent me pictures. What her and Ray are doing, it's amazing. I got to take some lessons. But they got real hedgehogs. I don't know what you do with hedgehogs. You can't pet them. They have cute faces. You know, but I mean, I would just be like, it would be endless cussing in the house with me if I had a hedgehog. And then could you imagine if I had a parrot and a hedgehog? What the parrot would be saying every time I had friends come over or on the phone, like for work. You're on the phone for work. And the parrot's like, "Fuck that hedgehog." I'm sorry. Oh, what did you just say to me? No, that was my parrot. No, I'm pretty sure that came from you, Jason. Ken says, great to see you. Nancy Drew is with us. Great to see you, sister. Ken says, aren't they mean as hell, hedgehogs? I don't know. Is Ray or Heidi here? They could tell. Does anybody have a hedgehog? Is it taking any fingers off? Yes, the young lady Rapunzel is here. We also have 2 financial gifts over here on Entropy from Matt. Both of them for $5, bringing it to a total of $10. God bless you, Matt. Thank you for that. And he writes with the first one, most of Jason's followers would be willing to sacrifice their lives for him. Wow, that's really a humbling thing to write. Because he is that important to our people. You cannot say that about other content creators. Their followers wouldn't. Matt, man, thank you. Thank you, brother. You wouldn't have to give your life because, my brother, we would be shoulder to shoulder. You wouldn't have to just give it for me. I'd be fighting right there with you. Dying for y'all. So God bless you. Thank you for saying that. Most of Jason's followers would be willing to sacrifice their lives for him because he is that important to our people. You cannot say that about other content creators. Their followers wouldn't. Boy, I can think of some of them that it's seriously seems like a comedy routine thinking that somebody would give their life for these people. So true. And Matt says in his second thank you. That's actually, that testimonial is Matt. I mean, that's like adding 5 zeros onto the end of that financial gift. Really. He says in the second one here, I'm heading out for a bike ride. Awesome. I've printed 500 quote, end anti-whiteism stickers with my label painter. Guess what I'm going to do with them? You all didn't do it. You guys didn't do it. Team White Wellbeing didn't do it. He writes, get out the swash flags. Get out the epic swash flags. Where are the swash flags? This man is swashing. He's got huge swash. This is a man with Brobdingnagian swash. Swords, shields, swash flags for Matt. I'm heading out for a bike ride. I've printed 500, quote, end anti-whiteism stickers with my label painter. Guess what I'm going to do with them? Brilliant. You know something that you're not going to do with them? You are not going to cause a law to be written into a bill that then will be passed into a law that will criminalize white people for wanting to put an end to our victimization. That's what you're not going to be doing. What a champ. What an epic hero. You know, the coming generations of white kids, you know, initially they're going to be up against a lot of anti-whiteism still. These kids today and tomorrow, they're going to be up against a lot of anti-whiteism, and they're going to come to learn that it was our community who was making victories against anti-whiteism, ending the victimization of our people, meaning the end of their victimization. And they will then identify those who tried to burn us down, and they will hate them to the ends of time. Know that. These Nazi LARPers, these other antags out there that come after us to defame us, to slander us, to misrepresent us, to use any argument that they think will turn away the people that they want turned away from us, those will be that youth coming up will be the ones who go after those people. It won't be a bunch of jaywalkers ordering it from government buildings or from the Flamingo Casino. It's going to be these white people who are going to want to know, why did you get in their way? That'll be the torches and pitchforks that show up at their houses. And there won't have to be, for those people, those very angry, whose lives are destroyed and ruined by anti-whiteism. They're not going to have to get a judge to sign off on coming to their house. There won't be any pretense to legality when they snap and they go hunting for the ones who got in the way. Make no mistake about that. There'll be a retribution. So let me see what we have over here. We'll read a little bit of Cindy's and Final Blossom, and then we'll get out of here. How long have I been going? 2 hours. We lost an hour yesterday. I'm giving you 2 hours today. All right? That sounds fair. 2 hours plus. No, I got stuff to do. Other things for white well-being. We have over here on Odyssey. Let's see. Whoa. We have a 5 library token financial gift. So that's their cryptocurrency from Who to Thunk It. And he says, if anti-whiteism is not effective with a vague, use anti-white identity politics way before anti-white racism. Yeah, never use anti-white racism. So if you're speaking to somebody for the first time, you're having a little bit of issue, anti-whiteism. I've never had an issue. I've had people who have kind of, with their mannerisms and they're like, sought some more info on what it is. And then as soon as I say it, they get it for the conversation. But yeah, if you have to, that's a good suggestion. You could say anti-white ideology, anti-white identity politics. Never include racism. Thank you for that. Who'da thunk it? Thank you very much. We have a $5 financial gift over there on Odyssey from Humongous. And Humongous says that Humongous says, here is to Team WWB. Amen, brother. Thank you for that. $5. Here's to Team White Well-Being. Absolutely. He comes back, financially gifts another $5 over there on Odyssey. Not only is it possible, it's happening. Quit making excuses to do nothing and then celebrating Team White Well-Being. So that was in response to something, maybe the objection being made. So not only is it possible, we're doing it. We're succeeding. And then $5 more from Humongous, being totally humongous today. Thank you, brother. And he says, with these $5, here's one for the lulls. Okay, thanks. Yeah, we've been having some fun. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for that. There'll probably be more lulls where that came from. On D Live, it looks like I got a follow. And then maybe yesterday, an ice cream cone. That might be old. From Board Troll of cryptocurrency. Thank you if I haven't said that before. And then, is it Billy Free, Texas? I think I read that. That's all another ice cream cone of cryptocurrency. Thank you both either way. And big thank you to Humongous. That's great. That's another thing that these critics of yours truly will say. They'll say, that Jason guy, he's not entertaining at all. There was a guy over there on Odyssey that was saying that. Hey, that Jason guy, he's not entertaining at all. He's not interesting at all. When's he going to say something interesting? And my thought was, nothing will be interesting for you, because I'm not going to do like 5th grade 10-year-old humor for you. And like 5th grade 10-year-old like history class for you. I'm not gonna dumb it down for you so you can feel good. There's no content here. Could you imagine? Healthy people go into a classroom that they don't get, or they don't really like the subject, or it literally is just out of their league, and say there's nothing of substance here, and just walk out. They'll either say, no, I don't get it, I don't like it, or it's just out of my league. That's what healthy people do. All right. Did I get everybody squared away? Really cool testimonial by a guy who's going out there right now to hang up 500 end anti-whiteism stickers. Let me see what y'all are saying in the live chat, if anything, and we're going to read. Thank you all for celebrating. Leadership is a quality we are severely lacking in our race. And you have it, No White Guilt. Thank you for saying that, Cool Papa J Magic. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, we lack mature, rational, intelligent, courageous, manly leadership. There is just next to none of it. But we have all of these people that think that what they have to share, no matter what it is, no matter how briefly they've thought about a subject, is valuable enough to lead the community. I mean, isn't that bizarre? Elaine says, I just ran into a guy with 2 little girls on the beach who I just gave your business card to, and he started doing a Trump impression. He said that he wants DeSantis, but he'll take Trump. Awesome. Look at Victorian Time Traveler. This is maturity. What he wrote here. I had a lot of objections to the Go Free method, but I kept them to myself until I fully understood. That's what a normal, healthy person does. Could you imagine you go into whatever it is, subject matter, maybe you're in high school and you're in algebra and you're just like, nope, none of this is true. No. Letters? No. No, prove it. Could you imagine? That's probably what all these little shits did. And that's how they got thrown out of class. J Magic says there's absolutely nothing unclear about Go Free. Precise. Thank you about that. Thank you. All right. Cindy wrote this wonderful article that apparently she was working on for a really long time. We need to celebrate Cindy again for this. This is swash. This is swash. So let's get out some swash. Let's get out some swash for Cindy, because this is a very insightful, intelligent, well-written article. And look at this. This should be what our people is reading, but they're reading something by Greg, the tabloid writer. Jason wants white liberals to come into our circles so that they can put up "hate has no home here" signs. Right? That's what that's the trash they're reading. This is what they should be reading. So let's dig in a little bit into this. I was thinking maybe every now and again, going forward, we could have a roll in, maybe even on Going Free sometimes, because I'll open my phone and there are totally ridiculous recommendations for videos for me to see. And I'm just like, God. And I thought, I could make fun of these for everybody. We could have a blast. Maybe we'll do that. Cindy says, quote, "Just don't have babies," close quote. The young American Indian woman tells her online viewers in response to how whites can support Black and Indigenous people. A young Asian woman boasts that females of her race can, quote, "single-handedly cause white genocide," close quote, by breeding with white men. A young white man tells his viewers, quote, "I'll say it, I hate being white, which means I'm one of the good ones," close quote. What a just powerful way to open this piece. That gets you right up front. Well written, well done. These are just some of the clips YouTuber Charlie Cheon shows in his video about racial hatred that some are refusing to acknowledge is happening. There's virtually no limit to what racial minorities can and do say about white people, said Cheon, who is Asian. This is a natural outgrowth of the belief that every societal ill is the fault of white people, close quote. The video posted in early 2023. And another thing that I want to point out that I discussed ad nauseum with people in the white sympathetic sphere when I was building all of this was that non-white people will be able to say these things that we're using here. They'll take them up for their use. The conservative ones, the ones who are being victimized by anti-whiteism, or they can see the writing on the wall, or they just think it's immoral. And when they use it, all of these white Mayberry morons will feel confident enough about using it. And what is happening? The video was posted in 23, soon went viral, with many YouTubers making their own reaction videos to it. Jason Kuna of No White Guilt was one of them. Charlie Cheon is showing an extreme amount of courage to break with the anti-white cult. Kuna said he is a non-white person and he could just reap the rewards of anti-whiteism his whole life and take the advantages that are given to him in Western civilization. And instead, he's speaking out against this. He's noticing that to do this to white people is immoral. He can see the double standards, close quote. Kuna, who happens to be white, has spent, well, not according to a bunch of Jaceburgers out there. Jaceburgers, that's like the cheap meal at McDonald's. That's the J-Spurger is what they sell you out the side door. And it's some like really swarthy, greasy guy. And he's like, trust me, it's in the bag. It's in the bag. Give me the money. Your J-Spurgers are in there. Genuine rat meat. Oh my God, that is coming together so good, isn't it? The J-Spurgers. How many J-Spurgers you want? How many? You want 5 J-Spurgers? 10 J-Spurgers? All right. The author of Go Free, A Guide to Aligning with the Archetype of Western Kind, his goal is to, quote, to cure white guilt and all the physical, mental, and spiritual illness it causes or exacerbates in all of us, whether or not we realize it, close quote. Through the practice of, y'all like that? The J-Spurgers. No, it's just the letter J dash Spurg. So you can just add the ERS, J-Spurgers. What do you get with the J-Spurger? Like, you don't get a Happy Meal. No, you get like a court summons. You get like a Dear John note from your girlfriend. It's over. He like opens up. It's like a fortune cookie, the bag. It's all greasy and old. The guy comes out and he's like, there's your J-Spurger. And you hand him your money and you're like, ooh, I wonder what my fortune is. Oh, fuck, my girlfriend broke up with me. Oh, yeah, this is the way to go. It's worth it. It's worth it. I had people write to me because I was saying that all church have been steered down the wrong path, and that's how he ended up in this place. And they're like, he wants all church to suffer. No, clearly you do. The J-Spurger fortune's J-Spurger comes in your greasy bag with your fentanyl shake. Through the practice called going free, a method employed in his book, Cooney introduces words and phrases that helps his viewers and readers understand how to free themselves from anti-white propaganda and to identify mean pathogens that infect the mind. I bit my tongue. Like a human virus. The man in the video who hates being white is a classic example of the mean pathogen that the only good white person is an anti-white person. Anti-white white person, Kuna notes. Exactly. Oddly enough, it's the part of It's a Comedy, Damn It that I'm trying to read into audiobook where Lucifer bites his tongue. Quote, that's anti-whiteism for you. So do you see how beautifully she's like laying this out? This is very professionally done. I should just say it's professionally done. You can pick up the New York Times now and find articles that are written, and it really looks like high school students are writing them. The standards have so plummeted, proving the MC again that we mentioned earlier. The anti-whiteism for you, he told his viewers, that's anti-whiteism for you, he told his viewers. And if that were being done to any other group of people, it would be discussed on a global scale. What level of evil convinces a race of people to hate themselves for what they are intrinsically? This is another reason why you never trivialize race as skin color. I'm just going on quoting me here. Kuna adds, if you destroy everything that's good in the name of anti-whiteism, then you destroy everything that's good for everyone, not just white people. We are going to need great champions of all races to step up and side with us as moral agents against anti-whiteism. Hasn't the day come for this argument that I've been making for decades? Hasn't the day come for this argument? I worked in the nerve center of the conservative movement, where the big brains are. people like celebrate one of my coworkers there like he is a deity. And I shared this. I was just like, hey, this is the position we have to take. This is what's real. This will reach people. This is how we can actually win. And I spelled it out. And then they're like, no, thank you. We'll stick with losing. Kuna has used the terms anti-white, anti-whiteism since the 90s. Disappointed that he could not find these words in the dictionary. White sympathetic leaders criticized his use of the terms because they weren't official. But decades later, a practitioner of going free found both words in a nearly 50-year-old dictionary, which he shared with Kuna, which, by the way, oddly enough, was Final Blossom, right? And we're going to be reading his article in a moment, who was happy to gain the added legitimacy of an official endorsement. You better believe it. In fact, more than you know, because it showed malice on the part of anti-whites taking these terms out of the dictionaries. Let me jump down through. White people are genetically predisposed to, quote, radical individualism, which we're calling selfish individualism, just working with that for now, and will never defend themselves as a people until they see themselves as a people. Kuna admits, quote, we are victimized by groups with strong group identities. I mean, this is beautiful. If you have a relative, a friend, a lover who reads and would not be intimidated by a well-written and healthy-sized article, you could use this to introduce. That's why this is Epic Swash. You could use this to introduce. Let me see what y'all are saying. Elaine says she'll take a Jace burger, but hold the cheese. Keep it kosher. Oh my God, that's funny. World Conqueror says the Jace burger has the McDonald's message that says, done, done. I'm naming them. And then you're sent to jail for buying it. Oh, that's so funny. Helios Abbott said, man, Cindy, this is dynamite. Where is Cindy? Can we celebrate her? She normally, if you want to speak to Cindy, you have to go over to my, let's see. Yeah, she normally shows up in the threads on BitChute, on my BitChute. So I'm a little reluctant to share. You can go into my URL, and you can go into the description and find the URL. But I want you to stay here on YouTube. Don't go anywhere else. I love YouTube. I love it. Me and YouTube. Very special. Oh yeah, it was another one today. Was just like, if you weren't Jewish, you wouldn't be allowed on YouTube. Okay, that proves it. I've been had. I've been had. The same people who, like, when they first saw me, they're like, "Oh my God, he's a Waffen SS king." Then they're like, "What? He doesn't want us to just bellyache all day long? He's a Jew." They're good assessors, aren't they, of identity? And Time Traveler says the Jace burger comes with the unhappy meal with a side of dyes. Oh, so good. That's good, man. That is so good. Is some artist in our community going to make this? Like, it's going to have like the unhappy meal with the side of dyes. I don't know what would be in it. Maybe French fries with X's for eyes. And they would be all greasy looking. And the picture on the unhappy meal would be like just, I don't know, maybe a van down by the river, like a broken down van. That is so good. By the way, the word kosher is not English. It's not ours. Now, there are a lot of words that we use in English that are adopted from English language, over 1 million words. And that's why it's such a pity that it's being reduced and reduced and reduced every generation. It's unbelievable. I wrote in cursive the other day, and a 22-year-old girl could not read cursive. I shit you not. She said, I'm trying to figure out what you wrote here. And I was like, okay. Like, I knew you were going to be reading it, so I wrote carefully. You know, it's nice penmanship. Not like my signature, and when I can do like really beautiful, believe it or not, almost like calligraphy. I bet if I had one of those pens, I could do very fancy. But I wrote it so I'd be able to see. But she's like, it's been a while since I've learned cursive. You mean you didn't learn it? So I'm writing in a foreign language to you? No big deal. I mean, but geez. Anyhow, yes, we need to use in this community, and especially when I get done with It's a Comedy, Damn It, I'm going to get started on Prometheus Rising audiobook, and we are going to take a huge helping of the spirituality and just introduce it to everything we're doing because of how valuable it is to us. It will empower you in your religions. It will empower you in your atheism. We're going to bring it in. We need to be saying that things are pristine. Is it pristine? Jewish people will say, is it kosher? They will say, did you all hear that radio disc jockey? I'm sure he's now a homeless jockey. And if this bill becomes law, he'll be able to maybe move in with you. Who got the Jewish girl to call her parents, and she was on the radio, but the parents didn't know. This is something I knew from Jewish people I know, that they will say, not all Jewish people, by the way, we're not falling into that trap. It's definitely not all Jewish people. There's all different types and groups of Jewish people, individual Jewish people that just are their own, just like everybody else. But I've met some who will talk about their young or their brothers or sisters or whatever and who they're dating. And they'll say, I mean, the first time I heard it, I was in Pittsburgh, and a lot of Jewish people there. And the person said, now I can't even remember. We were at they asked if the other person was kosher. And I was like, what? Isn't that like food? I learned. They're saying, is the other person Jewish? So I thought, wow, I like how that works. So we should be able to say, is the other person pristine? Oh, you're dating someone? She's dating someone. Is he pristine? He's dating someone. Is she pristine? Nothing wrong with that. Totally moral. The union should be pristine. You can also say it about environments. Now, pristine doesn't mean that there are no non-white people. It means, are we like everywhere you go, and is our projection, Western civilization, everywhere you go so that it's reflecting back at you? That's a pristine environment. Some people were trying to take this and turn it into some sort of like fractioning up communities because they are disingenuous. They want to harm what we're doing, turn it into some sort of segregation. That's not what it is at all. So is the artwork pristine? Do you see how useful this is? Is it evincing? Is it evoking? Is it projecting back at me Western civilization, Western biospirit, Western values? You see how useful this is, pristine? Now, if you want to ask if something is all right, and this is how most white people will use the word kosher when they use it. Is something all right? Now, you could use pristine there as well. But if you just want to use a wonderful English word, use the word copacetic. It sounds good. Is it copacetic? Yes. Now you've learned a great word here today. Very useful. Copacetic. Copacetic. But also use pristine. But you can use copacetic anywhere you go. Machiavelli Sucks is here. Great to see you. Is it pristine? So where were we here? Kuna played more of Chion's video showing a man on the street asking if all white people are inherently racist. A black man said yes. And a white woman asserted that, quote, you can be racist toward white people, but it's not going to hurt them or their opportunities. Gee, like mine. Do you think it hurt me and my opportunities? This is where I can get violent. And this is where I always wonder, these people, these Jaceburgers, why do they want to keep doing something that doesn't hit back? Like, I've been in fights. I've got scars. I've lost teeth. I don't allow them. Now, don't get into fights. Don't fight. Get away from fights. It's not good. If you can't get away, then you be the first to resolve the issue. But otherwise, get away, be peaceful. But I don't like to get punched and punched and punched, which is what anti-whiteism does to us, and then just bellyache about it. And that's all these folks do. They just bellyache. The antags bellyache about it. The conservatives, the cuckservatives, they bellyache about it's not fair that we did. And you saw this guy in this article. He felt like he had to come out and cuss the right wingers first, right? No, I want to punch back. We have something to punch back with metaphorically that actually destroys anti-whiteism. Why wouldn't you want to do that? So when I studied my ass off to get a 3.98, worked my ass off, awards everywhere I worked, I go apply places and they're like, no. And I've told you all before, I went to some of these in person and I said, come on, tell me what's going on here. Is there any chance you just stringing me along? Is there really no chance? And a couple of times I had people directly or indirectly tell me, we're not taking white male applicants. So in my years all the way back when I could have gotten started in a company and I could have been I would have obviously been, with my skill, my drive, my intelligence, I would have obviously been six-figure salaried somewhere, producing far more value for the company I worked for, but it never happened. Are white people harmed by discrimination against whites? Where's the family that I could have afforded? Where's the opportunity that I could have had to afford a family? How much wealth could I have grown and then passed on? So does it hurt white people? Let's jump through this a little bit so we can get over. Cindy's doing an epic job. And do an online search and one will find numerous hit pieces about Kuna and others defending white positivity. In fact, there was another one just came out recently. The Thunder Down Under Lunder shared one with me. I don't know. Maybe I'll share it with y'all on a roll-in or something. Some Go Free practitioners, for instance, have distributed flyers with information about Kuna's website, which advocate for service to white well-being, and the news media claims they are white supremacy posters while interviewing people who feel threatened. Kuna himself has been threatened and harassed many times, especially by another segment of the white positive, well, it's really white sympathetic sphere, which he calls the Name Them crowd, which members want to focus primarily on Jewish people, who they blame for many anti-white policies. Well, all of them. But Kuna does not go along with that ideology, stressing that this would make us the villain in their story and not the hero in ours. She does. Cindy just does a glorious job. Make sure you get over there to that BitChute and find her in one of the threads. Thank her, salute her. She wraps up here at the end with another quote from yours truly. What a wonderful job she did. I'm very impressed. Well done. Let's get to the final bit here. We'll get to the final blossom. I could rap. I could totally rap. But the society is not set up to like somebody like me. So it would fail there miserably. The great Irish Nick says, you provide more value here than you may know. No white guilt. Thank you for that. I thank you, brother. God bless you. I really appreciate it. Somebody called Hi is asking, what's on my cheek? I was in a fight. Don't fight. And the person I was fighting had a ring on. And the ring scarred and damaged the flesh. And the flesh never healed quite right. It was like cyst type formation and getting infected and just wouldn't heal. And so I've had a couple procedures to correct it. And so finally, this is the most recent procedure to correct it so that I can finally be done with that fight. And this is what winning looks like. This is what winning the fight looks like. I'm sure he healed like that. Joe is leaving. Good night, Joe. Escape is with us. Great to see you. Okay. So this is the great Final Blossom. Now, he has a YouTube channel. I want you to go to his YouTube channel. You find everything he does there. It's Final Blossom on YouTube. Might be able to pull it up for you and drop it in. Everybody is on YouTube, and I want you to stay on YouTube. Sometimes I remember their channel. Sometimes I don't. Final Blossom. Uh-oh, it didn't come up for me. Some bitch. Does Franklin or anybody know? Oh, okay, Franklin. Oh my God. Have I mentioned before that Franklin is some sort of like half deity? I'm like, let me find this. Does Franklin? Oh, done. That's a well-oiled machine. We are like the rail car at the drag strip, and it's just like all the pistons are firing. Fires thrown from the exhaust is glorious. Roars down the quarter mile, and I'm sure we'll be told this month that it was invented by a person who was neither male nor female, unless it was a day that he or she wanted to be, or they wanted to be male or female. And then when February comes back around, we'll be told that somebody who was black invented it all. But that's just normal, and that's not discrimination against white people to erase our history. White erase it. That's normal. We don't suffer anything from that, right? So let's look here. Benefits of revitalizing Western civilization. Now, you'll find this, if you don't find it on his YouTube page, if you just want to go straight to substack.com, you can go to finalblossom.substack.com. There are many benefits to putting an end to the rampant white erasure and anti-whiteism afflicting Western civilization. Let this list inspire you to work toward a future where these benefits become a reality. Crime rates will drop significantly. Crime not only leads to injuries, death, and property loss, it takes a psychological toll as well. With that fear mostly removed, our minds will be at ease. We will be safe in our cities again. Now, why will that be the case? People who want to misrepresent would say, "Oh, well, that's it looks like it's 11/11." Do you hear that, Rapunzel? They'll say, "Oh, it's because they think that white people don't commit crime and only non-white people could commit crime." Oh no, that's not what we think here at all. What we know here is that our standards of expectations for behavior, our standards for punishment that deters crime, the kind of civilization that we establish has a lower crime rate. Crime rates have gone up where there has been this leniency toward criminality because it disrupts a Western civilization, harms white people. It's harming non-white people as well, which is why we talk about the collateral damage, non-white people by way of the victimization of the white race. So restoring the order and norms and expectations of the white race will restore order and tranquility and safety to Western civilization. People will be happier and more sociable, Final Blossom writes. They will be far friendlier with each other because they will be surrounded by white, positive Westmen like themselves. Look at this beautiful painting here. Our children will be able to play outside. Oh, this is now, when you get here, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe. And if you can follow on the Quora, which you probably can, so every time something is posted, Biospirit of the West is always writing fantastic articles. So make sure you subscribe here so that it just comes in your email. And both of those cases is not going to be sold to J. Spurger McDonald's, right? Our children will be able to play outside in safety. Entertainment will be white positive. Entertainment won't be white erased or seeded with anti-white messaging. Operas, symphonies, and balls will be commonplace. Of course, this is high culture that he's talking about here. Wonderful. Look at this, beautiful. See this, it lifts your spirits to look at that, certainly if you're a Westman, but people of all races. Sports teams will consist of Westmen. Can you imagine? The achievements of these teams will be something we can truly celebrate, as they'll represent what we are capable of as a people. The news media will be white positive. Could you imagine? They will no longer put an anti-white spin on their stories or avoid coverage of events that contradict the anti-white narrative. Imagine you can read this article for the purpose of indulging for a moment the teleos. Just sit back, allow it to develop in your mind as you read through this. That world, that's the world you want. What is it? It's pristine. Yeah? Let me jump down a little bit. The education material taught to our children will be white positive. Brand Danger is hard at work on that. History will not be taught in a neutral or anti-white manner. Remember, these neutral manners back in the day, I've talked about this with First Last many folks. It was never neutral. It was always presented as neutral to the detriment of white people. Every time they were meme pathogens. Our history will be taught to our children in an inspiring manner, encouraging our children to follow the example of great Westmen. Perfect use of our lexicon here. Follow the example of great Westmen, which is what? White men, white women. And if there's a case of a white child, white child. Beautiful works of art here. Look at that. Classes will be taught on Western music, dance, literature, and art. Look at this. Could you imagine this? Look at the ballet. Our children will be able to attend school without the threat of being attacked or sexually assaulted, which is almost all schools now. It's just, you remember what Khan said of London, that's just what happens. Well, that's just what happens in school. You get raped, you get beaten, you get murdered, you get maimed. That's just what happens in school. Jump down a little further. Sexual degeneracy will not be tolerated in any public setting. Governments will not permit parades promoting it. Schools will not teach it. Books promoting it will be blacklisted by retailers, schools, and libraries. Doesn't this sound totally pristine? The architecture in our towns and cities will be a reflection of our biospirit. Man, this Final Blossom guy is some kind of genius. Definitely read this. Definitely subscribe. Many of our cities are filled with eyesores that inspire no one. They're hideous. They're hideous. It makes you sick. Spiritually, it makes you sick looking at it. As our people become white positive and put an end to white erasure, they will work to ensure their environments represent Western civilization. Isn't this a beautiful thing? And how are we getting to this beauty? There's only one way. There's only one way to get to love and beauty, and that's by love and beauty. You're not going to get there by LARPing as the bad guy and a villain, LARPing from the bad guy from the anti-whites telling of history. And you're not going to get there that way. You're not going to get there in some ugly, violent, intimidating, threatening way to love and beauty. It doesn't happen. Our cities will be clean and orderly. Doesn't that sound good? Buildings, bridges, roads, and other infrastructure will be maintained. Common areas will be respected by all. You know, I remember here in Virginia how things change. Because when I was a very young person, everybody that I could see from my car seat in the back of the car, when they pulled like in front of my mother or father, they waved thank you. My mother or father, when they got in front of somebody, they waved thank you. Sometimes they waved thank you back. People held the door. All of this was normal. Trash, strangers would pick a trash up and put it away. The norm. This was the norm. Being polite. That's gone. It's been white erased. There will be no more brothers' wars. Westmen will refuse to participate in wars that do not benefit their people. Westmen will see themselves as one people with many countries. Man, I love this guy, Final Blossom. He is awesome. Look at this. Yep, I love it. Now, remember, when you're confronted with somebody out in the white sympathetic sphere, and especially the J-Spurger types, gatekeeping, J-Spurger, subversives, and they're like, you're using those words, that's ridiculous. Know that you are many notches above those people. They're using the words given them by our victimizer. Imagine how dumb that is. Imagine how subversive that is. You should feel as above the people saying such things as you would if you were, in your, third year of med school being criticized in medicine by a freshman working on an arts degree. You should be like, you're a joke. Get out of here. Employees in white positive businesses will become more productive as they will be motivated to serve their people. They will not be working merely for a paycheck. Doesn't this sound much better? The quality of goods and services will improve as a result. We would not allow this built-in scenarios where the products or services break down. You've got to get new. You've got to hire new. We wouldn't allow it. Holidays associated with Western kind will be celebrated and promoted. Absolutely, 100%. No obsolescence built in. Food quality will improve as we produce food in harmony with nature. Could you imagine? This is really a beautiful thing. This article is truly, it wouldn't be amiss to call it romantically beautiful. because of just how just physically the imagery that's being brought up in my mind, how enticing it is. Families will be more stable. White positive parents will serve as excellent role models. Let's make this vision a reality. What a stunning soul inside this champion, Final Blossom. I didn't read the whole thing because I want you to go over there and I want you to soak it up. Western Kind Wellbeing Newsletter by Final Blossom. Let me see what y'all are saying, then we're going to get out of here before they send the F-16s after me. Looks like we're good there. How about over here? Good there. And we are good there. Let me swivel around. Ah, no way. Slots, the great Slots, financially gives $1. Oops. And he says, with that dollar, what is a good alternative title for Juneteenth? I'm going to have to think on that, brother. I will think on it. Thank you for that question. And a good alternative title for Juneteenth. Thank you so much. The great Slots, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't follow him on Twitter, please, please do. See, the least you could do is follow everybody who's producing stuff. And then the next level up is to retweet, regab, give likes. We also have, whoa, get out your raucous emojis. We are ending on a very high note here. On a very 50 spot note from the great Nick, financially gifting 50 white well-being dollars. He says what he wrote in the chat, inspired, I guess probably my dude, bro, hashtag white well-being, the great Irish Nick. Let's give it up. $50 tonight. $50 from a working class man, the great Irish Nick, ladies and gentlemen. A true champ has come in here. I don't know, for some reason, the Irish Nick reminds me of that boxer. Oh my gosh, I just lost his name. Where he didn't look like he was a destroyer of human beings. Oh my God, Jack Dempsey. But he was. God bless you. He is the Jack Dempsey of white well-being. Irish Nick, ladies and gentlemen, 50 white well-being dollars. Man, big. Thank you all. Celebrate this man. Drop a crown on his head. Drop a crown on his head. How about some gems for his feet? Where do I find these things myself? I should get on. I want to get in on it. They don't put these things in a nice. How do y'all do it? Oh, we got some. How about some fireworks? There we go. There's some fireworks for Irish Nick. God bless you, brother. Thank you for all of your service. And thank you for that. You come in and you're just like, you got this great testimonial. You got this great energy and spirit. And then you're going to drop a 50 hard-earned dollars on top of it. This is really a very special community, a very special team. White well-being. Very cool. Elaine says, just say no to white erasure with no white guilt forever. She's dropping gems, dropping crowns for the great Irish. We'll make a clover-shaped crown for the great Irish Nick. The diamonds, Irish Nick's diamonds come in clovers. They're clover-shaped. Samuski says, was the fight with a biker No, but I have seen, and I did get in a couple of tussles with people who had on these godforsaken rings. Anybody fighting, you got to look at a person's hands. You got to watch their hands all the time, because don't ever let them get within striking distance. But their hands are going to have to, they don't pull out a weapon with their mouth or their ass. It's going to be their hand. When you look at their hands, you can see for rings. A wedding band shouldn't really do much. But these idiots, like bikers and all, where they wear, and it's like a skull with daggers coming off of it. I mean, that is a real piece of shit that would hit somebody with that on. But like a class ring or a lodge ring or anything that is bulky and sticks out away, a fraternity, a university, those can really damage. All right. We'll see how it turns out. In fact, we're going to get thank you all for celebrating the great Irish Nick tonight. We got sharks. We needed those sharks, Franklin, for the gene pool for some of these others out there. We gotta serve them up. Rory Herbert's here. Great to see you, brother. Just seeing you now, man. We're getting ready to roll out. Gotta eat. I got things to do. Where did Rapunzel go? Where's Rapunzel? Johan is here. Great to see you. Thanks for showing up. We had a good time tonight, yeah? We hung out. Where else are you going to hang out and get this much value that you can then, as Irish Nick is pointing out, that you can then just take right into your life, right into your own thinking, right to the people around you, family or friends or strangers? You don't. We could pull up, what we need to do, not tonight, but in the future, we need to pull up other content creators, watch a little bit of what they're poisoning you with, so we can juxtapose. You've these people who say, yeah, Jason, you shouldn't compare. You shouldn't compare. Who is this? What president was that? You shouldn't compare their shitty products with your product. Does anybody know? You shouldn't compare. Well, the only people that are going to say you shouldn't compare is when their product or service is garbage. No, you're like, no, whatever you do, don't compare these two. Could you imagine? I mean, at your Jace Burger, they're like, don't compare the Jace Burger to the burgers at other fast food joints. Whatever you do. Or you go to the mechanic, don't compare the work we do with the work elsewhere. You know, everybody at that other mechanic shop, they're all rapists. They rape turkeys. That's what I heard. They're like, it's animal abuse. Yeah. So you shouldn't go over there and compare. Come on. Obviously, there's something wrong with these people. All right. But we had a hell of a lot of fun. What are we going to go out on? We'll go out on the great Fournull song. And then, obviously, when we're back on Sunday, I'm going to celebrate everybody who financially gifted at the end of this Sunday when the equipment went bad. Not my equipment. And we'll catch up on what we missed there and celebrate everybody we missed there. Linda's right. She guessed Nixon. Did anybody else get? Yep, Linda got Nixon. Anybody else? All right, Montana Kid, good night. Good night to you all. I need to learn a good night song to sing. Wait, oh, there she is. There's the young lady, has shown up. Throwing hedgehogs. Promethean Healing. I seen a match on YouTube of Dempsey fighting a guy that was huge, probably over 6'6", and he demolished him. The big guy retired after that. Yes. That guy Dempsey was unreal. At a boxing gym I was at, there was a photograph, black and white photograph of him, and he's all the way thrown out with a right, and the contact he's making with the guy's jaw is broken. They caught it right at the moment, or it appeared to me to be broken. I was like, yeah, wouldn't want to get hit by that guy. Everybody doesn't know his name, like the Russian boxers that have been the champs for years and years, heavyweight champs. The white women don't know their names. It's not the fault of the white women. They shouldn't know the boxers' names, unless it's some kind of a one-off woman who's really into boxing. But it's obviously the result of anti-whiteism. They want to tell you when the white man is kicking ass. They only want to tell you when a non-white guy is kicking ass, any non-white guy. But we'll listen to the great Fornal, Guilt in My Heart, version 2. And then we'll be done here tonight. And I'll see you again soon. So, as always, love you all. Roll out.
Tried to be fair, but you don't believe in doing your share. But I've learned my lesson, and now I can see the white guilt in my heart is dying. Heart was yearning, but now I can see the white guilt in my heart is dying away, is dying away. You fooled me a while. You thought you were wise. You even believed I fell for your lies. But the tricks turned on you. Now gladly I say the white guilt in my heart is dying away, is dying away. Your movies don't thrill me like they used to do. Your words only chill me, I'm glad that we're through. My heart was once yearning, but now I can say the white guilt in my